Alright, Alexander, you are my first victim. Person I'm going to evaluate your essay this year, so you should feel proud of yourself right now. Helps that your first name starts with A, so that's good. Alright, so MLA citation first. This is right, but it's also a different font, so you're going to change the font to Times New Roman. This is good, this is good. I always got a space in my name there. This is good, although this isn't the date that you handed in the paper, so you're going to want to change that eventually. You got too many spaces right here, you're going to move that up. Alright, so Smoke and Mirrors is your title. I actually think it might work with Macbeth and relating that to him, so we'll keep it for now and come back to it later. Alright, first thing with your introduction. Let's look at that first. First things first with your introduction, you use the word you. You use it several times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, 6. Remember when you use you, every time you use it, you miss a point because that's changing point of view. This should be a third person point of view. So you're going to miss some points for that. So you start off with a question. Have you ever been in a car crash and smelled the smoke of something burning? Which might be an interesting first line. I like that good imagery. Smell of smoke and remember the event like you were looking in a mirror. I'm not sure how that relates. You remember the event like you were looking in a mirror. But this is an incomplete sentence, and you have that's a kind of an interesting follow-up. I think you want to explain that better. Well, that just may be a form of PTSD. Now, you want to spell it out first before you use the initials. So, form of, post-traumatic stress disorder. Not everyone will get it. I need a space here. But to those who do it, it could be. But those who do, it could be a mild to severe case. So it's got to be something that you're using these as adjectives. Self-destructive to the point. So this is an incomplete sentence as well. This is a fragment. These are capitalized for some reason. When they die, you dismiss it like it's a joke. Wrong it's. Memories that keep coming back to haunt you. You don't need a comma here since this is not a complete sentence. So you got a lot of mistakes that way. Here's one thing though that you need to think about. You haven't even brought up the fact that you're going to talk about Macbeth and how he has PTSD. You haven't done that yet. You haven't told me the symptoms that Macbeth has. You haven't told me a thesis statement yet as far as what this paper is going to be about. So you're missing a lot of stuff so far. And again, you have too many spaces. You're going to have to move those spaces up. So I see what you try to do. So these are your main points. Self-destructive behavior, you're emotionally numb, and memories. This needs to be more self-evident that these were what Macbeth was suffering from in the play. So make sure you do that. In the first place, self-destructive behavior. This is not a complete sentence. So you need to fix that. You start off with a prepositional phrase, then you have the subject, but you don't have anything else. So you have to do with that. Even when it led. So this is wrong use of semicolon here as well. You have the prophecies, which are a weak, quote to use when you can just say that he got prophecies saying he'd be this, this, and this. You would need commas in here because you have items in a series. After receive his prophecies from the witches that he would be, and then do the quotes, comma, he immediately demanded them to tell him more, yet they vanished. So you're giving a little bit of plot detail here. Alright, so after that, you go on to another point of when he is doing some self-destructive behavior. So he has Banquo and Fleance, at least tried to kill Fleance, and he escapes. After Macbeth's sanity decreased even more, comma, he goes back to the witches and demands them. They show him this, which these shouldn't be their own sentences on their own. You should have those separated out. Even after Birnam Wood gets to Dunsinane, comma, he forgets all about the prophecies until Macduff, capitalized, finally kills him. I don't think he ever forgets about the prophecies. Isn't that what he's clinging on to at the end of the story? I think he's all about the prophecies towards the end. Thus, the end of his self-destructive behavior. Now, keep in mind that your symptom is self-destructive behavior. So when have you shown him doing self-destructive behavior? You've talked about him killing people, but I don't see how this is self-destructive. These prophecies aren't self-destructive. Listening to the prophecies and holding on to them might be self-destructive, but you don't really explain that in here either. So you're going to definitely need to work on that. So you have a transitional statement here, which is good that you have one in here, Alexander. Thus, the end of his this was the end of his self-destructive behavior, and the beginning of his emotions doesn't need to be capitalized, becoming like ice. I like that you actually used a little bit of a simile there. That was good. So you have that. So you start off with a sentence that is not a complete sentence. Unknown to him, his something would be a downfall. You don't have a complete sentence here. And the rest of this paragraph, I think you really need to go back and reread it, Alex, because it doesn't really sound. You'll read a lot of these sentences and they don't sound right. Macbeth's emotions take time to show, then finally just pop out at the wrong times, then full shutdown. Like, it's a real choppy sentence. Try to get like one idea out at a time and then work on combining maybe two ideas. If he kept his emotions the same for a while, most things wouldn't have happened. I don't know what that means. But with pressure from his wife, he collapsed with the emotions of a murderer. I like this idea that the pressure kind of collapsed him. But again, this is supposed to be about becoming emotionally numb, which to me means you do things and you don't respond to them with any emotion. And I don't know if these examples are. I mean, I can think of like when his wife dies, that he's emotionally numb to. So I think that would be a good example for this. But the examples you're giving him, his wife keep pressuring him to show no false face or to show a false face, but that's not. I guess I can kind of see that as being emotionally numb to it, but it's almost being fake too. So I don't know how that could come into play. King of Scotland needs to be capitalized. First, comma, in his way was his first in his way. Sorry, was his friend Banquo, who knew the prophecies and suspected foul play. So you'd have that. Going back up here. Sorry, this is the wrong. Remember, they're dots and not slashes too. You did it right everywhere else. So obviously, Alex, we didn't finish this, which is unfortunate for you. And if something is going on that's allowing you not to finish, I really need to know, because I can't have you not completing essays. This is pretty unacceptable to only have 3 paragraphs done of your essay. So we probably definitely need to talk about what this is going to look like in the future. So hopefully we can finish that up. No works cited page, no nothing yet. So you got a lot of work to do.